Hello everyone. Good morning, and thanks for joining. My name is Pablo, and I'm going to walk you through some theory and some tips around how to manage ourselves and not die trying. Before we start, I'm going to ask you to add one word or two in the chat about what do you expect from this meeting, and at the end, I'm going to review that and make sure that I met the expectations. Okay, so the plan is to first review a couple of why questions, questions that came to me while as I was preparing this slide, this presentation, and maybe some of you already are also asking these questions. Then I'm going to walk you through the concept of the two sides of the coin. Then I'm going to explain common pitfalls that we need to understand and to avoid that can basically lead us to burnout or bad health states. And finally, I'm going to share some principles around how to get back on track if we understand that we are in those pitfalls. This all will make sense as we move on with the presentation. So the first question, and maybe some of you are also asking this, it's why I'm doing this, why I'm presenting this topic. And to answer this, I want to talk a little bit about my background. Many of you already know me, but for those who doesn't, I started my career as a software developer many years ago, like 5 years ago. I started like a leadership track, leading teams, doing some Scrum Mastering, and maybe 3 years ago, I started a management track, which it's pretty common in this industry. I haven't had any preparation for that, any training, right? But I only had the goal to be, for my daily reports, the manager that I wanted for myself, right? I basically did some analysis of the managers that I had and tried to avoid making the same mistakes. I read a book called The Leader You Want to Be, written by Amy Shensu. And yeah, I got a lot of valuable tips and stuff to apply as a manager, right? After I got laid off this year because of COVID and the whole economy going down, I started here at Austin Software as an individual contributor again. And then I realized that many of the concepts that I applied in my manager role, I can also apply as an engineer, as an individual contributor, and that helps the team and the people around me. This presentation is basically based on that book that I mentioned, but that book is pretty much focused on management, and leadership. So what I did is I extracted the concepts that I use the most and tried to adapt them to be applied on any role, because I believe that anyone can apply these concepts that I'm going to share. The second question is, why companies manage people? You may hear this question and the answer to this question many times, and it's basically around, we build management structure to scale companies and mostly to keep our people happy, right? Keep people motivated, keep people engaged, and most important, prevent burnout on people, right? So if I have management on my company, why I need to manage myself? And the truth is that managers provide tools for you, right? They will walk with you to the point that you want to be in your career, but they won't tell you where you want to go, right? You are the only one that knows what you want for your career, for your life. And you are also the only one that knows how to take care of yourself. How much stress can you handle? How much workload can you handle when you're feeling tired, when you're feeling energized? And also, there's the concept of self-awareness, that is that small voice in your head that helps you to analyze your behaviors, your thoughts, your actions in a really calm and objective perspective. And sometimes it might happen to you that you have an ugly discussion with someone, and 10 minutes later you realize that you did wrong, that you could act in a different manner. So that is your self-awareness. And you are the only one that knows how to handle these things, and most important, how to train your self-awareness, because we can extract a lot of valuable things to improve ourselves just by listening to that small voice in your head. And the truth is that if you don't know how to manage yourself, you cannot expect someone else to manage you. So let me tell you about the two sides of a coin, right? And I'm going to read a small paragraph here. Person A in the left is an engineer at a thriving company. He has a big and ambitious goal and feels motivated to make the difference in his area. He sees that the company is growing fast, and he is really excited about it. He's always trying to find new ways to help. Today, Person A has just delivered a milestone for one of the most important initiatives that will expand the company's business. He's totally fired up from telling the story of the organization and sharing the vision for where the business will be in 5 years and how he is contributing to that. He gets home still feeling energized and enthusiastic. He is fully present at dinner with his family, and then he gets back online for a productive hour that gives him a jump on the next day. Person B is also an engineer at a thriving company. He also has a big and ambitious vision and feels motivated to make also the difference in his area. Today, Person B has just came out of a long day of back-to-back meetings. Despite all the time that he put in, he feels totally frustrated by how little he accomplished in one meeting. In one meeting, he got lost. He had a really ugly discussion with a teammate and created an unnecessary fire drill for the team. At home, rather than listening to his family during dinner, he feels irritated and distracted by the urge to get back on his computer and get something done. He checks the email on his cell phone, and immediately after dinner, he goes to his home office after spending a couple of hours, which he feels like spinning the wheels. He collapses into bed, where he finds it difficult to fall asleep. Two different people, right? And probably if I ask you who is doing things better, you will say Person A. But the truth is that these are the same person, right? These are the two sides of the same coin. We are humans, we have lives, we can have days where we feel like a Person A and days where we feel like a Person B. On days A, we feel more productive and you are feeling better, right? You feel like that satisfaction of delivering things, or that feeling that you're accomplishing things. And on days B, you feel kind of more tired and kind of frustrated. This is not an issue, right? We can have this the days B, but the problem comes when we have too many days B. Why? Because having too many of these types of days basically creates a dissatisfaction with your career, right? You're feeling frustrated because you cannot accomplish anything, and most likely you will be you are going to a possible burnout. Also, feeling stressed, not sleeping well, feeling frustrated, sad, tired, also has a negative impact on your health, right? Also feeling pressure because you feel that you need to accomplish things and you're feeling that you're not meeting the expectations. And this also has an impact, a domino effect on your network, right? Because you're angry, you're frustrated, you talk bad to people around you, and that people, your network starts to feel that bad energy, right? And start to spread around. That obviously has a negative impact on the performance and the team spirit, and basically the motivation and on the people around you. On the other hand, being on having too many days A also has some benefits, right? Basically, you are doing your best. You are having impact on the work that you do for your company, for your team. You are seeing results. You are doing meaningful stuff that is valuable for the company, for the team. And similar to what I just said around domino effect of this days B, this also has like a positive domino effect on the people around you, right? Because you are feeling in peace, you are feeling happy, you are feeling motivated, and the people around you starts to absorb that energy, that good energy. And also having this clear and clean state of mind also helps you to explode your creativity, to find new ways to do things, right? To have more impact, to see more results, to do more meaningful stuff. So it's kind of a loop. So how can I know if I'm a person B? And this, there's a group of behaviors that can help us realize that we are off track, let's say, or doing things like a person B. And those are called pitfalls. Why? Because a pitfall is something that you fall really easily without knowing that you're falling into that. And when you are in the pitfall, it's hard to get out. Why? Because it's all around behaviors. When you get used to act in a certain manner or answer questions in a certain way, it's hard and takes time to do things differently. You need to get used to new behaviors. So there are 4 pitfalls that I'm going to explain right now. And the first one is the I just do more. The symptom here is that you feel that the way to make progress on your career is by working hard, more hours on many topics, like putting a lot of workload on yourself. It's really easy to fall in because you feel like you are doing things right, because you feel that satisfaction of people starts depending on you. You are demonstrating that you can tolerate a high amount of pressure, and also you are picking new stuff all the time, so that also has some sort of excitement, right? But this has negative consequences on your physical and mental health, because you feel exhausted, right? You are working too many hours all the time and putting yourself under a lot of pressure. This also can lead you to burnout. And as you become more, as you're feeling that you're becoming more critical for the company, it kind of has the opposite effect, right? Because if an opportunity comes and you are a critical person in the role that you are there, for the company it will be much cheaper to hire someone over you than to move you to that position, because of the impact that moving you will have. The second one is I just do it now. And this is the symptom here is that you live under a constant state of emergency. Like everything is exploding in production. We put ourselves in an emergency mode where we need to fix things as soon as possible, because if not, I'm going to get fired, or my bosses or my managers will think that I'm not really valuable for the company. And there's a slight difference between urgency and emergency. And the difference is that if you are in a state of emergency, you start like radiating tension and stress to the people around you. And for you also has the same consequences that than the previous pitfall, that is around stress, pressure, mental and physical exaltation. And also, as you are like radiating tension and stress, other people around you will start absorbing that. And when you realize all the team is on that state of emergency for something that might not be really an emergency rather than an urgency. The third one is the I shall do it myself. This one is the symptom here is that you feel that everything has to pass on for you before, like you're the only one capable of doing certain thing, or you are the best person to do that thing, right? This gets more notorious, or I have seen this mostly on people leading teams, because they feel the pressure of being the responsible for the delivery of the team. So they take a lot of things on their shoulders, and they start doing a lot of things for their team. And this also has consequences over the ones that I already mentioned. That is, you create so much dependency on you that destroys the team's autonomy, because the team doesn't feel that they can do things without you. And also, you cannot take even a PTO because you are required all the time. Also, if you see it from another point of view, you are basically preventing people from learning new stuff, right? If I teach someone else from my team how to do a release because they don't know how, I'm teaching something else, and I'm giving some piece of ownership to them as well. And on the other side, I'm covering for people that is underperforming because I'm doing their work. So it has a negative impact on the team for both points of view. And the last one, the I just do it later. Basically, you live under the thinking of everything is more important than your needs, right? You prioritize everyone else requests or needs before yours. I have to invest time on myself. Like I need to read a book or something, or prepare for something else, and I don't do it because there's always something more important, and it's usually someone else needs. It feels good because you are helping other people, but what about you? What about your career, right? And one manager told me once that it's very important to invest in ourselves, because if the opportunity comes in the company and I'm not prepared for that opportunity because I didn't spend time on myself, the company will need to hire over me, right? And how will I feel about that? Frustrated. And probably I will get angry with the company and burn out, etc. To be honest, after I read all this theory, I realized that I was falling on every pitfall when I started my career in leadership. I was doing everything myself. I was working endless hours. I was pushing my needs to meet clients' needs. And I realized that I was doing things wrong when I took some vacation to go on my honeymoon, like 5 years ago. And when I got back, everything was on fire because the team didn't know how to do simple stuff like production support or production releases. And that wasn't me, because I was so worried about meeting clients' expectations and making my bosses feel like I was up to the role of technical leader, that I basically prevented the team from learning new stuff, or I basically destroyed the team's autonomy. When I read this book, well, I realized after my vacation, I started doing things differently. And when I read this theory, I said like, oh, wow, I was on these pitfalls. And now I keep these pitfalls in the back of my mind to be aware that I cannot fall into this again. So if we see these pitfalls from the point of view of person A, the I just do more becomes I do more only if it's really valuable, not just because I need to, right? The I should do it now, it becomes I do it now after I prioritize my work. And it's on me to take this work. The I just do it myself becomes I do it myself only if it's my highest and best use of time and I'm not preventing someone else from improving their skills. And the I just do it later is, again, I do it later after, again, prioritizing or deprioritizing my current task for this one. It's very similar to the second pitfall. The good news is that we always have a way to get back on the right track, on the A track. And that are the 5 Ps. Purpose, process. Purpose is having a clear goal in mind, understanding what you want to accomplish in your career and what it's your highest and best use for it. Process is things, routines, practices that you do for yourself that makes you feel more efficient. People is basically build your support network, right? People around you is there to support you and you to support them. And by helping them to succeed, you also succeed. Presence is basically taking time to measure your responses to stimulus. If you remember at the beginning of the presentation, I talked about that little voice in your head that tells you what you do wrong, basically. So presence is about paying attention to that voice, and before having a really bad reaction to something, breathe, think, and measure your responses. And most important, measure the impact of your actions. And peace, it's basically a result of the previous 4 because you adopt like a really good environment free of stress, of ego protection, and you transform that into gratitude and trust. In the forsake of time, and because I have more tips to share, I will focus on purpose and process because are the most practical things. How we can define purpose? Purpose is the sum of contribution and passion. Contribution is the value that you add to your company, to your team, to your current initiative or whatever, and your passion is about what makes you chase something, what gets you excited about something, right? And if we put these 2 things into a matrix, we have the 4 quadrants. This is something really important, and it's a good exercise to do. Grab all your tasks and try to allocate them in these quadrants. The first one is the sweet spot, right? We are doing something really valuable for the company, for the organization, for my team, and it's something that I'm really passionate about, right? I should invest more into this because it makes me happy and it's valuable for the company. The second quadrant is something that we must tolerate in the sense of it's really important for the company, but I'm not so passionate about. And I need to explore my creativity to try to move this to the first quadrant. The third quadrant is elevate. These are things that I'm really passionate about, but the company doesn't care so much, or they doesn't see the real value in them. Here is where you need to explore your creativity at most and try to solve them that this should be in the first quadrant because you are passionate about and you can switch things around to make this something really valuable for your company. And the fourth quadrant is something that we should basically eliminate from our to-dos because it's something that it doesn't add value to the company and I don't enjoy doing. So why I'm even doing this? And this that is not really valuable for the company could be something really valuable for some or something that someone else is passionate about. So might be on the third quadrant for someone else, and that person can take that into the first quadrant. So we are elevating other people's games. And I remove something that I don't enjoy doing. So process. As I said, process are things that makes you feel efficient. Obviously, this is like a really personal thing because, again, you know yourself best, and you shouldn't follow processes that you don't really enjoy or you don't really see value in them. But I'm going to share about some processes that I do for myself, and maybe you can try them, maybe not. But again, these are things that makes me feel like I'm being more efficient with the usage of my time. The first one is every morning I take a look at my calendar, at my day schedule, and I try to allocate time to power blocks. What are these? Power blocks are basically focus time. The book talks about power blocks like at least 90 minutes blocks where you don't have any distractions, right? Because probably for most of us, when we have meetings or when we have time between meetings, for example, I have this meeting now and then I have one meeting in half an hour, I won't get much done on that half an hour because when I try to focus on something, I need to switch contexts again. When every time we do a meeting, we schedule a meeting, we need to take into account that in addition to the meeting time, there's always the cost of context switch for each participant, right? So plan your day to have those power blocks, and a really good tool for this is Clockwise. Probably most of you already use it, but Clockwise helps you organize your calendar so you can have more time to focus. And this is important to me because knowing how many power blocks I have, I can commit to get something done on the day. And this is maybe committing to something related to the team or something related to me, right? I want to read this book, or even I want to prepare this presentation for you. This was a commitment for probably 3 weeks ago. But yeah, at the end of the day, I will feel that satisfaction that I met my commitment. I was able to deliver that to myself. And well, if it affects the team, even better. It's also important to take breaks because starting focusing on something. Let's say that we finish this presentation, you are exhausted of hearing me, and you are about to start up a power block. We are humans, we get tired. We cannot spend the 8 hours of work really focus on something. We need to take breaks because it also helps us relieve our mind, right? So another thing is finding your top performance cycle. I know a lot of people. Myself, I feel really productive on the mornings. I wake up really early, and during the morning, I feel like I can take on hard work or complex work because my mind is more clear. I know people that works best overnight or even in the afternoons. That is on each of us. But my suggestion is try to identify where you feel more productive and plan your day to do that complex work on your top performance hours. Another important thing, and this is a personal advice to keep your work-life balance, it's to set working hours. We work with clients which we have many hours of difference, and sometimes they schedule a meeting after our working hours, or maybe in order to get something done, I work 3 more hours and over my current schedule. So it's really important to set like, okay, I'm here, I'm available between this time frame, and let's plan to get things done over that time, right? Because your company, your organization, your team cannot rely on you working extra hours all the time, because you will eventually fall in one of the pitfalls that I mentioned. The next one, it's kind of silly, but it actually makes a lot of impact, at least for myself. And this adding a color to your calendar, color your meetings. Myself, I do it using the quadrants that I just mentioned. I try to assign a color to where I allocate this meeting on the quadrant. If this meeting is something really valuable for me and for the company, it's on the first quadrant. I assigned, let's say, green color. And assigning a different color for each meeting helps you get a glance of how is your day, right? And we need to try to have that ideal calendar where everything is green. You enjoy everything that you do, and it's really valuable for the company. And the last one, it's meetings. Again, meetings, it's a huge investment. If you want to translate that into money, this meeting is really expensive, right? Because it's 1 hour from each of us in the company. So my advice to you is that be present on the meetings. Being on a meeting while you are trying to multitask, it's not valuable. It's a waste of time for you and for the people or the person that organized the meeting, because you are not fully present and you won't get the value that you want to get from that meeting. And my second advice is be prepared for the meeting. This meeting actually doesn't really require you any preparation, but most of the meetings that you have with your teams require some sort of preparation. Even the daily stand-up, you need to prepare the status and the plan for the day, right? And something that I do before meetings, I just breathe. I take 40 seconds before the meeting starts to do 3-4 deep breaths, just to try to relieve my mind a little bit. So there was a lot of information, and what I want you to remember from this meeting. The first thing is that we are humans. We have our own personal lives that usually affects our mood, right? And it's okay to have days A or days B. We should aim to have always days A, but that is pretty much impossible. The problem comes when you realize that you are having too many days B and you are in a pitfall, right? It's important to, again, listen to that voice in your head that tells you how you should act, and train yourself to act that way, right? Keeping in the back of your mind the pitfalls and try to identify them as soon as possible, mostly to recover from that more quickly. Define your purpose, define your passion, define what you can contribute the most. Basically, define what is your best use for the company or for your team. Define your daily routines. You can take mine. I don't mind. But again, it's for you. Everyone is different. Just take a moment to think or to organize your day to feel more efficient. And most important, take care of yourself. As I said at the beginning of this presentation, you are the only one that knows how to take the best care for you. So do it. And with that, I want to thank everyone for attending to this meeting.